Getting ready here. Okay, welcome everyone to the April 18th meeting of the Park and Recreations Committee. Before we get started, we have a new member, and if you could introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Terry Culp.
Okay, well.
Would you like me to share more?
Well, sure, if you'd like to.
Well, we moved to Deer Run about 6 years ago, and we've really enjoyed the area, and just would like to get involved and see if I can help out in any way I can.
Okay, well, welcome.
Thank you.
With that, we have call to order, and we'll do the roll call. So if we can start with Dawn, just state your name.
Dawn Wittenberg.
Terry Culp.
Larry Schultz.
Mary Larson.
Claudio Gropetti.
Jeanette June.
Okay. Next on the agenda is select the chair and vice chair. Each year we do that. So my term ended. So do we have any nominations from the floor?
I nominate Larry Schultz to continue as chairperson of the Parks and Rec Committee.
I second it.
Okay. Any other well, I guess there's a motion. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
No.
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If not, a motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, no. Motion's carried.
Yay.
Yay, thank you.
Big campaign, I know.
How much money have you spent on that?
Not a lot. We need a vice chair. Was there a nomination for a vice chair?
I nominate Dawn Wittenberg for vice chair from April 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2023.
Is there a second to that?
I second that.
Okay. Will there be any further nominations?
No.
Any further nominations? Any further nominations?
No.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to nominate Don Wittenberg as vice chair from April 1st, 2022 to March 31st, 2023. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Say no.
No. Oh, no. No.
Okay. It's unanimous. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you both for being willing to do that. I appreciate it.
Everybody makes it easy to be in these positions. Thank you. Petitions, proclamations, suggestions, complaints from citizens, committee, or staff.
Can we go back and do the minutes first, Larry? At 4.
We have to do things in order. Okay. Thank you for keeping me in. Yeah, I know. I was thinking about all those dollars I spent on the campaign. We had the minutes from the March 21st, 2022 meeting that were sent out in your packet. So any comments, or is there somebody want to make a motion to approve those?
I'd make a motion to approve the meetings.
Okay, motion's been made by Don to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the March 21st, 2022 minutes. Any further discussion? All those in favor of motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion's carried. Do we want to wait on the proclamations?
No, you can go ahead with that too.
All right. Any petitions, proclamations, suggestions, complaints from citizens, committee members, or staff that need to be brought to our attention this evening?
I would like to commend Larry on a wonderful job you did at presenting to the to the workshop or to the council meeting about the status of the trails and where we were. I thought you did an excellent job of representing us at that. So I just want to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. Any other comments, proclamations, complaints, suggestions?
The only thing that I would like to add to, just to provide kind of an update from that meeting, the last two council meetings, the council did go ahead and recommend your suggestions for trails to move forward with. Obviously the financing of those becomes the issue. So there will be more discussion on that as we go through the budgeting process and the capital improvement plan. They did also approve the reconstruction of the tennis courts at Lions Park. And then last meeting, they also approved the basketball court reconstruction there as well. We were planning to use charitable dollars, charitable gambling fund that comes from the Lions sale of pull tabs, which goes as a donation to the city. And the Lions Club formally said, yes, we would like to do that with those proceeds. So those two projects will be moving ahead as well this summer.
Wonderful. Okay, anything else? Okay, before we get into the other items, we have a guest this evening, and we'll skip down to the outdoor pickleball court plans and specifications.
Thank you, members of the committee. As you know, we've been working on the construction of the outdoor pickleball courts for the last couple of years, actually, with a recommendation and approval by the council for a location back in, I think it was in December or January. We solicited some requests for proposals for design services and construction management and bidding of the project. And we selected HTPO, which is an engineering and architect firm, Eden Prairie? Out of Eden Prairie. And Bill Delaney, who is a landscape architect with the company, is also the project lead for us here. And so Bill and I have been working closely together for the last couple months on getting the plans and specifications ready so we can go out for bid. So with that, I would like to introduce Bill and have him talk a little bit about the courts and the design and what we have coming up as we move forward with this project.
All right, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here. And it's been great to be part of such a project where there's such excitement behind it, and meeting with the pickleball group. I learned a few things, and we put everything on the table, kind of came in with a 6-court design and an 8-court design. And what you see on the graphic here isn't too different from what we ended up, but there's the devil's in the details. The grades are kind of established by the sidewalk on the left and the sidewalk on the north, and somewhat to the play area on the south, and then the wetland on the right side. And after we looked into it, we found out that we couldn't bring the, I'm even getting it too far into the details right away, but anyway, we settled on an 8-court scheme thinking we can make this fit. The watershed regulations aren't too harsh as long as we don't go too far to the east, any further than the existing asphalt from the skate park is located. And so the court kind of grew to the west. And then back to the black and white plan, we actually show, can you blow it up on there or no?
Yeah.
On the west edge, we took out the right half of the path and then grew the sidewalk 6 feet to the west. And that allows us to not grow the whole court complex to the east.
Yeah.
And so, and then our courts grew a little bit from that colored scheme in that we wanted to get a an alleyway in between the courts on the south and the north, so that when you walk to your court, you're not in the way of other people playing pickleball. And so we squeezed in 4 feet, which is about as narrow as you can go. And then we're still squeezed up against the playground and the sidewalk to the north, which we wanted to preserve. And so, and then we, because pickleballers are kind of a social, group. And yeah, more than most sports, actually. Anyway, they need a place to gather. And so we kicked around different spots. There's not a ton of room, so we ended up on the space to the lower left there. And what it is it's a 16-foot square kind of cantilevered umbrella, which will hang over 3 picnic tables. And so they can put their equipment there, have a beverage afterwards, and maybe talk smack to the people in that first court. So let's see, we have divider fences all the way around each court so that the balls shouldn't squirt out and get into other people's courts. They may bounce over once in a while, but I'm told that's not as big a factor. And then, so it really provides kind of a really good sense for sort of a recreational or above pickleballer, so they're not going to be interrupted while they play. And so, and the courts will be, depending on the budget and how the bids come in, we're expecting it's going to have a 2-color court color and then green surround. And so the color example just shows all blue, but might be a light blue just to dress it up a little bit and then help with differentiation of the no play zone, which is that little strip next to the net. So let's see what else. Yeah, 8-foot perimeter fence. We're sizing the fence to hold wind netting, which keeps the wind from blowing in, kind of deadens the sound a little bit. But it's not, right now we size the fence to hold it, but it's not on our budget. That's why it's an extra line item for costs. Let's see. Yeah, we just have the 3 gates or 8 gates going into the courts, and then the gates, if you knock it way over the 8-foot fence, to go fetch it off the east and west sides. So that's a picture of the umbrella. I don't know if that's the exact one. It's something similar.
It's very similar, yeah.
Yeah, except it's 16 feet wide, and it'll be quite high. It'll actually be 12 feet high, so that if someone's standing on a picnic table, they can't jump up easily and hang on it. So that's kind of my thought.
Lights.
Lights, yes. We're going to have an LED lighting system, and that'll be comprised of, I think it was 12 poles, 4 in the center, and then 4 on each edge. And that'll be controlled by a programmable box, which we can override. The city can override it and say this lights won't come on after 10. And then if you hit a certain button, 4 of the 8 courts, or 2 of the 8 courts will be lit up. So it's efficient, but it's as efficient as we can be without, if we had to try and light up each individual court, it would involve putting in more light posts. And so we're lighting it up by quarters or quadrants. So, and did I cover it?
What are the interior fence heights?
The interior fence heights are 4 feet.
So all of them, so the gate, even where the gates are at, those are 4 foot as well?
Everything except the exterior perimeter fence is 4 feet, yep.
Did you discuss going higher than 4 feet inside?
For the divider fences?
Yeah.
We didn't really discuss it. It's kind of the common height for the divider fences that we've seen in precedents, and it seems to work pretty well.
Okay.
We did Starring Lake and Eden Prairie at
Okay.
that height. And I was surprised, even the back fence, they like to keep it at 4 feet. Like the one that's around the alley, they like to keep it at 4 feet because it's more personable if you want to lean on the fence and watch people play. You're not looking through for a fence. So, and we did that on Starring as well, and it's been working pretty well. So.
Okay. The park that I played in Tucson was about 6 feet tall. It was
Okay.
much higher than that. So I haven't played
Okay.
in Minnesota yet, so
Okay.
I wasn't sure. But
Well, I
I
know
went back to my photos. So oh yeah, that was about 6 feet tall. So I
Yeah,
was just
well,
curious.
I know it's done, and I've seen it where there's no alley, they do a 6 feet. And if that
That's
the
true. There
case-
was no alley. They
Yeah,
were,
and they
yeah.
just put some in Golden Valley near my house, and that's what they did, 6 and 8 instead of 4 and 8.
Yeah.
So,
And I know we met individually with a representative group of pickleball folks. I would say the outstanding volunteers from that group, and then had several back and forths with via email on some of the final details. So, we wanted to make sure we did it right the first time and what they wanted, and try to get everything that we could within our budget. So.
right, and they were super helpful. They went to other places and took pictures, sent me pictures, and saved me some legwork, and it was, it's a good group, so.
Sure. Are there any water fountains or anything?
That, not as yet, there's no water fountains. That's maybe an added item later, depending on how the budget goes and the bidding comes in. 'Cause
There's some right in the building, so.
Yeah,
I was just more curious than anything else.
that's the nice thing about the site is because of being at the rec center, you can get water inside.
Yep, restrooms are right there, and so.
Yeah, and we're thinking it's gonna look like it was there, like it was made for the site, because it fits so tightly, so. But it comes with its design challenges for grading, so. Any
Okay,
other questions?
questions for Bill?
In tentative, what is this design and build schedule? I know you don't know it yet, but is it something that would be done 2022, 23?
This year, we will take, hopefully with a recommendation coming out of the Park and Rec Committee, we'd be going to City Council for approval to bid the project at next Monday evening. So we'd be looking at a bidding in May. And we've got certain requirements that we have to abide by for bidding purposes. So we'd probably be looking at a June bid opening, and then it would come back before, depending upon where we are with the budget, it'd go to council for approval to award the project. And we'll be looking likely at a fall construction timeframe, if everything goes well. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Yep.
I just kind of wanted to provide a quick update on the budget, the estimated budget that we have. The HTPO design team, their dollar amount is close to 41,000. The construction estimate that came from HTPO was $375,730. I've added in some miscellaneous items, such as the windscreen, because we don't know exactly, where that's gonna fall out within the overall budget, and paddle holders and signage and things like that. So I've just put a dollar amount of about 20,000, and then some additional landscaping and trees at 10. So we're roughly at about $450,000, and the project fund in the CIP has 500,000 dedicated to this project. So far, fingers crossed, we're well within the budget. So
You have about a 10% contingency built in there too, so that's good.
yeah.
I would just say that I went to the committee with the other, the gurus of the pickleball construction thing. So they were very thorough on measurements and what you wanted, and all kinds of questions and suggestions. So it was a very thorough meeting, and I know it's been back and forth a little bit through emails to fine tune it, but overall I would say it's gone really well, and people are supportive, and liking it and are on board with everything as it is so far.
So when it's done, where's it going to put Victoria on the pickleball map of the Carver, Hennepin County scheme of things?
In what way?
Just, from will it be, do you think it'll be more popular Is it a medium size? Is it large? Is it small? Is it?
No, 8 courts is really a really nice size. 8 courts is really be top of the line. I don't know, there are a few courts like in Bloomington that might have 12, but I mean, you know, that was a huge area. So no, we're right.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, it would be very well received, and people want to play, and they're all asking me, when are we doing, when is this coming, and I just say, whoa, a lot of stuff to be done first.
Especially for the city our size, to get 8 courts right away. I'm thrilled that we were able to get 8 versus 6. So really, really thrilled.
Awesome.
Okay.
Oh, and Bill was very amenable to all the suggestions that were made and kept working with the design, so it's been a really amenable process.
Oh, thank you, June, and everybody else that may have participated on the volunteering to help out and on that committee. So if they're watching from home, or a big shout out to all of you for your help, and thanks. June's been kind of the impetus behind us moving forward with this all along, and thanks again for your leadership in that regard too. Other questions for Ann or for Bill? If not, we need a motion.
I move that the Park and Rec Committee recommend the City Council approve of the plans and specifications for the outdoor pickleball courts and authorize bidding.
Okay, motion's been made by June. Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Okay, seconded by Mary to recommend the City Council approval of the plans and specifications for the outdoor pickleball courts and authorize bidding. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose, say no. The motion is carried. Thanks, everyone. It's exciting.
Thank you, Bill, for coming
Thanks.
in.
Thank you, Bill.
Yep, I'll be in touch.
I think it's going to be exciting for the city of Victoria, and the people that will come to play, and then I think they will, you know, usually we say, well, let's go for a hamburger now, and so hopefully they will be visiting the restaurants downtown Victoria, and
Build it and they will come.
yes.
Okay. The first meeting of our new year, which is April, we always do an orientation and work plan review for our charter. So, Ann, you want to walk us through that?
Sure, and thank you, and welcome to, even though it starts in April, welcome to a new year of your terms. So I'm just going to run through a few things, and I know most of you have already been through this, so I won't make it real long, but I just want to touch on a few things and a few reminders of your work and what we have already planned for the work year. So the Parks and Recreation Committee is established by city code, and you serve at the discretion of the city council on a volunteer basis. Generally speaking, the terms are 3 years. Members are allowed to be chair for 3 of those 3 years terms, and you can go up to three-year terms. So we generally meet monthly. There are times when if we don't have a quorum, we might change the date. We usually go on a park tour in the summer, at least one. We also visit sites, especially like future park construction sites. So I would imagine if we get going with the pickleball courts, we'll be out there probably late fall, like we were at Wasserman when it was like 30 degrees and snowy and rainy. So we'll prepare for that. The role of the Park and Recreation Committee is to advise the city council really on all things parks and recreation. We spend a majority of our time talking about parks and trail acquisition and development programs, enhancements and amenities in the parks, maintenance of things. We also provide input on budgets and capital improvement plans, which happen. We'll be starting that process as an overall city in May. Hard to believe that'll be next month already, but so we spend months working and planning for a budget that our calendar year starts on January 1. We do also have an attendance policy. The goal is to at least hit 75% of the meetings and try to not miss 3 in a row. Understandably, people travel, people have jobs, people have other things that certainly sickness and taking care of others that also play into it. So we've had very good attendance over the years, so which I thank you for. It's not easy for us to cancel a meeting, but sometimes we have to do it. Emergencies happen. So we do follow loosely, I would say, Robert's Rules of Order. The chair and vice chair in that person's absence really controls the meeting, make sure we stay on track, and we do formally vote on things and make recommendations to the city council under that loose Robert's Rules of Order. The next thing I want to talk about is the open meeting law, and I apologize for this is tiny lettering, but the state of Minnesota requires that public bodies have meetings that are out in the open. We now televise our meetings. When I first started, we did not, so at least they are open, and we also allow folks to come in and talk to the committee, and we really try to follow the open. We don't try. We do follow the open meeting law as much as we can. The city council, because they are I would say a final decision-making body, are really tied to this. I strongly encourage, and our attorneys have encouraged us to also, as a committee and commissions, also abide by that, and not to, when you get out into the public or at events, it's not an open meeting law violation for you all to be there, but just don't talk business and make decisions on things that will be coming before you. So, like if we have the Wasserman open house, we still do notice that meeting for city council, but you guys are fine just as long as you don't make those decisions not out in the public. The next thing I want to talk about is the Data Practices Act, which presumes that everything that we do is public information. That could be, this information that I provided you, it's all on the website, but it goes further into emails and written communications. So I always would like to remind everybody again, like when I send you an email, please only respond to me back and not as a whole group. It can be construed as, some sort of communications as a whole versus just sending information back to me. So we will then abide by that. But, again, this group, we don't get a whole lot of communications going out. I send information out about the meeting agenda, but from a decision standpoint, those things are talked about in the public here, and then decisions made in this room. Does anybody have any questions about that so far? Okay. We have already kind of set our work plan for the year. Obviously, things do change. Things come up. But overall, I put together a fairly lengthy list of things that I provided you in your packet. So I want to just touch on a few of the high-level things that we are currently working on or will be working on, and that includes the pickleball courts, the tennis and basketball court, at Lions, which we've already begun. We've spent a lot of time talking about trail gaps already this year and recommendations. The replacement of strength equipment at the rec center. We will be later on this year working on a plan for Lakeside Estates Park Phase 2. We have that program for construction in 2023. So we're going to want to get another firm on board so we can start looking at that and planning for that and getting designs and cost estimates for that later on this year. We will continue on with our Emerald Ash Borer Management Plan. As you know, the Emerald Ash Borer has been found in Victoria. So we are going to be really focusing on getting that information out to residents of the community so they have an understanding or a timeline to get a plan together if they would like to treat their private ash trees. Expand volunteer opportunities. The city as a whole has really taken on a more holistic approach to that, where everybody's kind of involved, every department is involved in providing opportunities. The Parks and Recreation Department is blessed with a lot of locations and a lot of avenues for volunteerism. So we've been working really hard with the administration, and we're getting a lot of people that are volunteering their time and have established a pretty solid core of people that are willing to volunteer in the Parks and Recreation program. We have been working with the senior committee and will continue to do so on trying to determine programs and what our senior population would like for us to provide to them from a recreation and park standpoint. There is a senior expo planned for May 18th. I believe it's from 10 to 2 at the Lions Pavilion. So more information will be coming out about that. We're planning on doing a survey and trying to get information back from that expo to help us with as we determine more focus on senior programming. Technology and security improvements at the rec center, that's in the works and has been in the works for a couple of years. And I think we're getting really close for that actually as a whole community. And then we will continue to evaluate and recommend park dedication for all new developments as they come in, which is a real critical component of this group that it's important for the future of the community. So, and then again, recommend park projects for capital improvement plans. That's just a tiny list of the things that we've been working on and continue to work on. So any questions on that?
Just one quick one. Do we have to allocate anything or put any plans in place for relocation of the skateboards?
We will be talking about that again this year as part of the budget process. Because I think temporarily what the plan will be, unless I find some additional funding, we'll just try to pick a spot in the parking lot at the rec center and enclose it with some temporary fencing. But I will be coming back to you guys on some alternate locations probably next month, and some cost estimates on that. So. Because, yes, we need to find a permanent home for it.
Any other questions for Ann? Thank you. next would be the report on the membership and usage of the rec center.
Yep, that's just as an informational item, month to month as we, slowly come out of COVID, and hopefully we're not going to go back into COVID. We have seen, obviously, based on the numbers, our membership's up fairly significantly over last month. And our check-ins, and that's for the whole facility check-ins, are also up over last month as well. So, and I imagine with April being as not such a nice month yet weather-wise, I would imagine we will be, we should be fine with our numbers again. But I do anticipate once people can get outside, we will start losing some of those, especially check-ins. So.
Okay.
Otherwise, that's all I have.
Any questions for Ann? Was the last meeting Judy's last meeting?
Yes.
Yes, I'd like to go on record and say thank you to Judy Iverson for her service on this. How long was she on, Ann, do you remember?
I believe 2 terms.
2 terms, so 6 years. So she was a valuable member of our group, and we thank her for her service. And we welcome Terry to our group here. Anything else for this evening? Hearing none, a motion's in order to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting is adjourned.
Woo, I think that's the short.